Donna, how long have we known each other?
Katie, when did you start playing in Pro Musica? That's how long we've known each other.
Feels like the 1800s.
And yeah.
We're old. Let me finish that sentence for you, Donna. Yes.
No wonder we're such good friends.
I know.
So tell me about your very first Pro Musica concert. What was it like?
The lead up was great, and then we get to the concert, and I was sitting assistant concertmaster, second chair. My stand partner, wonderful Yen, had just flown back from Singapore, and he was horribly jet lagged, and he slept through the beginning of the concert in his hotel room.
That was Pulcinella Suite, as I recall.
That was on the concert. The very first piece was the Respighi Ancient Airs and Dances, which has a pretty significant concertmaster solo in it. And there was a little kerfuffle behind me as we're waiting for the concert to start. And then I forget who the personnel manager was at the time, but they're like, Katie, you need to move over to the concertmaster chair because Yen's not going to make it for the first piece. And I was like, what? This actually does happen? Because that's part of the duties of an assistant concertmaster is you're supposed to be able to cover the solos.
Right.
So I moved over and read the solos, and that was my first concert. It was very exciting.
That's a little stressful.
And memorable.
Yes. My first concert, I was a sub on second oboe, and it was October of 1990. It had an inauspicious start because I got into a car accident on the way up to a rehearsal. So this person turned right in front of me and I just T-boned him. So I showed up late. It was Beethoven 7. I do remember that. And I felt horrible the next day because I was injured.
Yeah.
And so I had no car, and it was a very stressful time because my husband and I were getting ready to get married. A couple months later, we were trying to buy a house. There was all this stuff going on, and so that's how I remember my start at Pro Musica, was the car accident.
How did you actually get to the concert after the car accident?
I was close enough to home. It happened in Athens, because I lived in Athens at the time. I was teaching at OU, and I called my fiance and I said, can you come and get me? My car's totaled and I can't drive. I've got a rehearsal to get to in Columbus and I'm going to be late. And so he came and got me and I took his car.
Oh, wow. I'm glad you made it.
I did make it. I was late. Never a great thing to walk in late for your very first rehearsal.
First one.
So I know you've done a lot of concertos as the wonderful violinist that you are. Which one have you played the most, do you think?
Probably Mendelssohn, or one of the Bachs. I've done the two doubles and then the two solo concertos a lot. How about you?
I've probably done the Bach double for oboe and violin the most.
Yeah.
Mozart and then Strauss.
Oh yeah, lucky.
Yeah. Playing it once was, playing it twice was like, oh yeah, Strauss. Can we get something else, please?
You can have some of my concertos because we have no shortage of violin concertos.
Have better rep.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
there's
a lot of Baroque oboe concertos, Marcello. I've done that plenty of times, but yeah, probably Bach, the Bach double. I think I know.
It's a really good one.
I played that a lot. We played it together.
We've played it a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So of all the pieces that you've played in Pro Musica, which one do you think was the hardest?
It's not really a Pro Musica piece, although it was on the Pro Musica stage during a Pro Musica concert. It's the Dreams and Prayers of Isaac the Blind by Golioff, which was a quintet with Vadim and Michael and Mark and Ilya. And I have never encountered such difficult counting as that piece. Yeah. And it's not often when I walk on stage really not sure how it's going to turn out.
Yeah.
Because it was treacherous. There are landmines everywhere in the piece, but we managed to get through it twice successfully.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
That goes in the win category. How about you? What was your most difficult?
Oh gosh. I would say the hardest piece that I've played recently was probably one of Andy Akiho's.
Oh yeah.
That was
well,
treacherous.
When a percussionist writes a concerto, you're in for something.
There were some really difficult, challenging parts in there that were, maybe the writing was nice, it just was very difficult.
Yeah.
And it was landmines all over the place.
I would agree. Yeah, it's a very strange feeling to be on stage and just have to put 1,000% focus in there and hope everybody else is doing the same as well. Because it just takes one person for it to go like this.
Yeah, all weebly wobbly. Yeah, it's not. It's a very it's an uncomfortable sensation.
It is very uncomfortable. Yeah, but thrilling at the same time.
Yeah, that's true.
Donna, how would you say the organization has evolved over your time here of 30 plus years?
Yeah. Well, I know when I first started, there was one person in the office, and she was the general manager. There was a musician in the orchestra who was a librarian, and also the personnel manager, and that constituted the staff. That was it. Now, I mean, as time has gone on, and especially with Janet's leadership, it's just become so much more professionalized, and everybody knows exactly what they're supposed to do, and it makes being a musician a lot easier, obviously, because people, who do go to what questions, and the people who are doing the work are really good at their jobs. And when you have somebody that's, trying to triple and quadruple work, all these different, they're spinning so many plates that eventually a plate crashes, and it makes it more challenging for everybody.
Yeah. Ditto.
What is the most the memory you hold dearest of the concerts that you've performed with Pro Musica?
I mean, in any given concert week, it feels like that's it, honestly.
Yeah, right.
But I think for me, it's really, I mean, that's like trying to say who's your favorite child. You love them all with that intensity, but differently. For me, I think it would have to be, Brahms 4, because Brahms 4 is probably my favorite piece. Either that, or I also really love doing Scottish, Mendelssohn Scottish.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And in both cases, and I can count on one hand how many times this has happened to me, I cried on stage. Wow. Because it was just a perfect merger of the music and making music with the people I love, and the intensity of the moment, and working with David's beautiful vision, and it just all came together. And I'm usually very detached from that when I perform, but both of those pieces got me on stage. Yeah. So how about you?
Mendelssohn Scottish, for sure. For me, I think there was a profound feeling when we came back from the pandemic. That concert for me, and it had a lot of personal meaning to me as well, because I was out for a year, and coming back and being able to play that concert, and then I had my new to me oboe that I hadn't had a chance to play in a professional setting since I'd owned it, and everything just came together. The music was gorgeous, the playing was gorgeous. It was after the pandemic, kind of, we were coming back from it, and that one really sticks in my mind.
100%, yes. Yeah. That was a very emotional concert, and I think it was also because of the audience, because you could feel it from the audience too.
They were so glad to be sharing an experience,
just to be together again. Yeah, that was amazing. I don't know why I didn't think of that, but that absolutely is up there. Yeah.